Hello everybody and welcome back. It's time for a match of the day. Heroic versus Wolves is about to begin. Welcome you back to the analyst desk where we got some details to hash out here between us. I'm also your host. With me are Anne and Fresh. Let's start off with our rosters, going with Heroic first. Jack, your thoughts?
Heroic are a team that, in my mind, are about where they were last stage, but they've gone through a bit of a turbulent journey to get there. Changed out 2 players, like I said in the pre-show. They've changed out players, they've changed out role style, and it's worked really well. And I was expecting it to work, just not this fast. I love the backline, that backline being Uno and Grizzly. Very solid, very experienced now, especially with, Grizzly getting a full year under his belt. Uno, go back to however many days you want. And then the front line is young, up-and-coming gunners from Tier 3. Doom, Mello, Benja. And Benja is just on a hot streak this stage.
I think personally, if you look at the backline, you mentioned Uno, for example. Well, Uno is personally mentioned on Twitter, for example, having a little bit of a, slump so far. He says there's a few things that he needs to fix. He mentions also that he feels like his team around him supports him very well, of course, but he needs to have more of an impact on the game than just being able to call out. And that's something that he personally has been struggling with. He's sitting on the bottom there. That was posted by Uno after their game last week. So I hope for him that that's something he can work on today, because the team will need him in that solid backline, like you mentioned.
It's rough because I know that Uno's got a really solid mental. Like I've literally teamed with Uno, and he's a really good guy, and he's got a solid mental. He won't let this affect him professionally, but he's aware that he's, potentially somewhat in a little bit of a slump. But what I will say as a redeeming factor is he has been streaming ranked non-stop this week. He's been playing through that barrier to, just keep playing the game, keep, I suppose, grinding it, I would say. And he won't let that affect him. So I would back him to, get over whatever, has been kind of hindering him and then move through.
Well, Wolves on the other side, it seems like everything's running pretty well for the squad. If you're looking at our last Playday, they were able to get all 3 points out of it, and also the day before. So they're looking good, Anne, are they not?
Yeah, they are. And even if you look at the standings, you'd expect that Wolves would be taking the points here. Something I specifically like about them is how they work an attack. They drone in very well. We've seen that with Mowgli before. He gets droned in. And while Mowgli's been a good player on this roster, even on a Challenger League team, basically the things he needed was a 1.5 in his gun and a shield on defense. And apart from that, the man could play whatever he wanted to do. So we saw things like a smoke, FNG 1.5, roaming around. It was all good. However, if you look at the stats, he's not having the greatest of splits so far. I think he's more in the middle of the team, whereas we see someone like Bibu, who's on a more supportive, operator set, you would say, with Ace and a Thermite, for example. He's popping off.
It's so strange when you think of how this team plays, because the 2 quote-unquote fraggers, Mowgli and P4, are both negative. And then the rest is, it's the backline that are doing well. But the one thing that I love about how unique Wolves play is Mowgli gets a lot of freedom to basically do what he wants. Because when you've got a player, you don't want to chain him in. So you get Mowgli, you let him do what he wants, and then the remaining 4 players are that good at winning team fights that they're just allowed to go and win the team fights that allows the Mowgli to go and do what he wants.
So what if we sat down and compared a player from each one of these two teams? Do you think that's something that would be possible, Jack?
We could do it. We've got a little head-to-head for you. And we've got, let's guess it's Mowgli, and it is Benja. Now, Benja's going to absolutely decimate in the stats. But what I will say is, what I just said about Mowgli is, and the reason we want to head-to-head these 2 players is they're both very aggressive players. They're both frontline players. They both slot in the front line, but they both play very differently inside of their teams. Like we said, Mowgli gets a lot of opportunity spot, whereas Benja is kind of the success from the whole team dynamic that Heroic put in, and they put a lot of utility into making him work and getting the kills for him.
I love how they're surrounding Benja as well with 2 very good players. We saw Doom and Mello coming in with this stage, for example. Doom with an 80% cost, very high. Mello going 14-9 last game as well. So just a very good surrounding, trifecta, as you can say, almost, around Benja that makes this team have a very solid front line.
It's always a front line that needs support to make it all happen, right? Logistics and all that. Moving on then from our player versus, we go to our map. A ban from 9 maps. We're left with 1, and which will it be? It's going to be Chalet. Wow, okay, we're going to see it again. Kafin Dostoevsky banned out by Heroic. They start off on the defense, as Wolves has opted for an attack start, and they are an attack, like a really good attacking team, and that fits really well with their ideology, I guess.
Yeah, you could definitely say so. I mean, it's a decent map for Wolves as well. They come off a win against Secret 7-4 on the last Playday on this map, but it's not a bad map for Heroic either. They themselves won 7-5 versus TT9, whereas, well, TT9 is on the bottom, but it's still a win, it's 3 points. So I'm curious to see what both teams will do on there. Something you've mentioned, though, before is maybe some stress or pressure heading into the side of...
Yeah, I think so. I think this is an absolutely massive game. This is, you know, for both of these teams, it's not make or break in terms of the major, but in terms of the major, whoever wins this has a very real chance, and between 85 and 90% chance of going to the major. Now, the big question for me about Heroic, now both teams are going to a map that they like. It's in the top 3 of preference. They both like it. They've both got recent history on it. They both enjoy playing it. But the big question in my mind is this is the first real roadblock where there's pressure for Heroic, and that's where I want to see. That's where their big test comes, and it's whether they'll pass that test or not.
All right, our game is ready. Let's not stall much further because Wolves and Heroic are in the server and set to go, my friend. Thank you very much. And Fresh, let's toss it back to our casters to get a demo and extra trigger. Enjoy.
Milosh, thank you very much indeed. We are going to be running through game number 3 here, Demo. And I don't know about this one. I think there's a lot of people out there that think this is going to be a very close game. And I think it is. But I think it's a very unusual game in that we've got some of the highest rated players in the league and some of the lowest rated players in the league on both sides going up against each other. The gulf, the gap in consistency on both of these rosters is massive. It was spoken about a little bit there on the desk, but I just think that's really going to come through.
It's a weird one. So at the moment, Heroic have Grizzly and Uno, who are both in the kind of lower 10 of the players inside this league, statistically, in terms of how they're doing, which they're both support players. You can expect that. But then you look at Wolves, and 2 of their best players are the 2 supports. One of the best player right now in the league is a support. It's really weird.
Yeah. And you got P4 in there, who's pretty low in the rating standings as well. So it is a very strange game, given the gulf from good to bad and from players that are performing to players that aren't performing in this one. And that's going to come across in the server in, I'm sure, weird and wonderful ways as we head into Chalet here. For the second time tonight, we have, of course, just seen a Chalet game where we saw Eminem versus Team Secret. But this is going to be Heroic versus Wolves. Now, in contrast to the Chalet game that we've just seen, we are seeing some very different bans here. We've actually got the Nook and the Nomad. Both going to be removed here. Nook ban, of course, makes a lot of sense on Chalet. You do wonder what that next ban's going to be. Probably Valkyrie, probably a little bit of information getting removed here.
Yep. I think Jack kind of mentioned that for Heroic this is a really big turning point in terms of how their season will go, and that's because of their run of fixtures that they have to go through. That's where Heroic are at. Heroic, I think you can definitely make the argument that they have had, you know, quite a easier half compared to some of the teams that they could have played. They beat G2. Look at how G2 are playing at the moment. They went on then to beat Navi. Look where Navi is at the moment. They went on then to beat TT9. Look where TT9 is. Already the first 3 games, they are not teams that are currently even in the top 5. They're in the bottom half of the league. They then go up against BDS and they lose. So the first big team that they come up against in terms of standings, they lose. They go and beat Outsiders. Very, very close. Just about beat them. Now they're up against Wolves, a big club side. Then they still have to go against Eminem. They still have to go against Rogue. This is the make or break for Heroic now because they have their tough battles now ahead of them.
Yeah, this is the start of a difficult close to the stage.
This could be a bad second split for Heroic just because of who they're up against. So it's up to them to prove us wrong. If they go and beat Wolves today, I'll have a lot of confidence in this side going further.
And that's what everyone's looking for, isn't it?
But I think because they did lose to BDS and they only just about beat Outsiders, we're not as confident they can go and beat a well-outfitted side of Wolves.
Benja, potentially going to get a little bit aggro here. Playing on the Oryx, has the ability to, of course, dash out if he wishes.
Central.
Grizzly, he's going to be the one that nets the first kill onto Mowgli. Poor old Mowgli was highlighted as having a bit of a slow stage, and that is going to be true here. Don't quite think that players have got the angle, but Heroic are thirsting after this demo.
Oh, they are indeed. It's a good technique from Heroic. try and shut down Wolves very quickly, eliminate some of the heavy hitters. The thing is that has really impressed me about Wolves this season, Ollie, is even if they're a man disadvantage, if things aren't going their way, they're so good at being able to slow it down, think of plan B, and execute it so well. And Benja, surely if nobody had came within the first 30 seconds...
It's 45 seconds into the round.
Yeah.
And you've got a humongous hole in garage.
And you just stand in the middle
And you just stand in the middle of it. Just like, hey, come get me. Collect me, I'm a freebie. Grab that man count advantage back to level and give yourselves a chance in this one, eh?
Yeah, pretty much so. So, Wolves, a little bit stunned, I'm sure, with losing Mowgli. Now somebody else needs to be the main entry, and it will be P4, it seems to be. However, an impact above. Heroic are happy enough just to run around the map, essentially, and put a bit of pressure on Wolves, but P4 is not fazed by that. He has plenty of droners on him right now, and he can get himself inside a kitchen, inside a dining. And that's the good first bit of pressure that I think already Wolves have been able to establish. They have a good place that they can start establishing, you know, their breaches from now, because now with P4 in the hatch, you don't have to worry about anyone maybe going for even like a bandit trick or anyone playing aggro on the door. He can shut all of that down.
There does need to be a bit more of a focus now into getting open that wine wall. Obviously, you've got mirror windows to contend with, and they're going to be quite difficult to root those players out from behind. Mello can sit and watch that breach all day long behind that mirror window, as long as blue is kept secure for him. Shinket is going to move on through and look to start getting that job done, as flank watch will hopefully for Wolves be in position, although with a lot of the players for Heroic rotating back down to site, now could be a reasonable time to strike. We're going to see a bit more info gathered here. Grizzly is going to be looking to play at the top of those main stairs. P4 is above and could look to try and exploit that hatch, and Doom knows that. He's going to put a couple of pre-fire shots through that way, but he does back off.
That's good, though, because realistically for P4, you don't have to try and stop them getting in dining. You just have to stop them using the hatch. That's all you're really after. P4 will now start to be pressured as they do enter in towards dining. P4, is he ready for Grizzly? They just keep trying to wallbang him, but nobody has got each other yet. But no, P4, he will be the first one to strike. He's doing so well upstairs, Ollie, in that 1v2, and he finds the second. Phenomenal work from P4. That gives the green light for Wolves. They can enter into the bomb site. Melu swings around, but isn't aware that Bibu is so close to him. P4, look at him. Brilliant, fantastic from P4.
Hyped up after that. I think he had a bit of info. We saw a few yellow pings getting thrown around there, so you can imagine that there will have been a drone kicking around. But still, he's been able to dance around, hasn't he?
So well there. Played it very safe, played it smart. Again, you don't have to stop them getting in dining. You just have to stop them using the hatch. And he knew that. That's where you can fall back to kitchen.
And on the flip side, you look at the site players. They did a great job of taking control of the site. You know, they were there to take advantage. Oh, we've actually got the graphic up now.
There it is.
We can see that a regulation win for Wolves is an 85% chance of qualifying to the major. And for Heroic, it is an 81% chance.
Yeah. Like we said, for Heroic, it's a massive game because they still have Eminem to go. They still have Rogue to go, that we know of. And if they can't beat Wolves, would you expect them to beat Rogue, for example? Would you?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's just the way I look at it. It's a lot of pressure on Heroic. A lot of pressure, but they need to start here with this first game.
But it all depends, Demo, on what? One thing. There's one thing that it all depends on.
I have to.
How the team plays on the day.
That's twice you've used my own sayings.
I think I'm just getting them out before you can get them in.
Brilliant.
Then I don't have to suffer them.
I mean, Wolves on the attack for Chalet. In my eyes, Wolves are really the only side that still has that, you know, that shadow of old school EU Siege, isn't it? Very classical, very straight to the point, do the basics well, and you'll be rewarded. And I think that sums up Wolves. They do the basics so well, and they get rounds because of it. Heroic, again, they're kind of under the new way of playing Siege, where it is that rat playstyle where you're looking to get into the faces of the side, you're looking to get aggressive, you're looking to shut them down. But like I've mentioned before, even if Wolves, if they lose that first man, they will still find a way to control that game.
Both kills that Heroic have got so far, and they've only got two. Oh, sorry, they've got three.
I've been from aggro.
They've got two. Have both been from aggro. They've both been from spawn peaks, running out, some sort of aggressive play. And I would agree. I think that Wolves are, to me, demonstrate one of the best attacking sides in Europe that we've got. You know, that they do play that very process-driven siege.
Watch yourself, Rogues are out.
Yeah, Rogue knocking around as well. I said one of. I didn't go for a carte blanche for the absolute, almighty, but they're certainly up there. And Heroic have got to try and battle back against that. It is being made a little bit easier by the fact that we are seeing Wolves fall to those spawn peaks.
Oh, have they misdroned him? They've misdroned him. They've misdroned Grizzly.
Bibu is more focused on utility here. He's going to get a... I think... Did he
see him? He's seen him. I seen the way he called out. He definitely seen him.
He may have just got a glimpse there and been able to get the info off. Let's see how Mowgli approaches. I guess they know that he's crossed now.
Yeah,
Shinka maybe has seen that, as the wall can start to now be open. Mowgli can get himself below and look to try and impact with a nade. There's going to be a player just behind the bed, and Uno does take a bit of damage. He actually drops and is going to go for this demo.
It's risky, but it actually might pay off for him. However, Mowgli, he knows he's dropped. Maybe Bibu heard the sound cue, whatever it is, but Mowgli has to win this engagement. He knows exactly where he's going to be. It's just, can he find him?
Oh,
there we go.
Good stuff there from Mowgli. Eventually gets the job done. June will take down Rise in the meantime, though, ensuring the advantage remains for Heroic, although Mowgli picks up his second onto Grizzly.
They know about Melu.
Mello hiding out inside
of
the bathroom.
There's no way.
No one's got a clue here. They're going to walk through this door and get cut down. There's 20 seconds left to go. Mello picks himself up one. That's the game given up. Now you know his location, but you've still got to do something about it. Benja, he takes down Bibu, and Shinka's got a lot of work to do here. Does manage to pre-fire on and deal out a little bit of damage, but it isn't going to be enough. Mello from inside of the bathroom hops himself out of the tub and straight into a kill.
Yep, rat plays, helping Heroic. Same way that I think we've seen from their game against, even in the first Playday against G2, unpredictable. If you don't drone them out or you're not ready for these plays that Heroic go for, they will punish you. And I think Wolves, you just need to be more switched on against Heroic, because Heroic will just keep on doing that. We know the caliber of players that they have. Whenever you see them pick up Jim, for goodness sake, it kind of gives you the indication, what he's like been throughout his career inside of GSA, inside of even FPL, which is I'm sure where most people will probably know him from. He has that playstyle where he can do anything that he wants, and you have to be ready. You have to be ready for a team like Heroic. But then again, I don't really know how you plan to prepare for Heroic is beyond me. How you do it, I have no idea.
I think something I'd like to see from Wolves in this round is not to fall victim to any sort of cheap spawn peaks or cheap runouts. Because that's twice that it's happened. It didn't hurt them too much in the first round because they got the win.
Yeah.
It hurt them a little bit in the second round, I think. We lost a player we lost P4 very early on the Ash. And, Mowgli did a great job of controlling in and around that solar stairs, but it wasn't quite enough. He could have done with a little bit more assistance, and to give away those cheap kills, it really is unforgivable. So I'd like to see a little bit more focus on ensuring that doesn't happen, but on the flip side, it might be something that Heroic don't try now, and they might just benefit from that sort of time wasted from Wolves in terms of getting themselves in, although Wolves do seem to be moving quite quickly here. They're going to be attacking into bar. And already have got a big stack up outside of that main door. Benja, he's outside again. Almost spending more time outside of the map than in at the minute. Doesn't manage to put in any damage, however, as he will scurry himself back in. Bit of drone info here to realise what's going on upstairs in library. And Wolves, for all they looked like they were going to move quite quickly, they do seem to have slowed down.
Yeah, Wolves just figuring out how they want to approach this. They have the Ying. There goes the Lion Charge, and also the Candela gets tossed in, but really nobody from Wolves in a position to follow up from it, all you could say. However, P4 actually slips in through lobby and will find Grizzly. That's a good play, using the Yings to put the pressure on the man on top. Fireplace, Mowgli loses that engagement against Melu, but P4 has top floor control. He has Fireplace, which is exactly what Wolves wanted.
Uno is going to be below on the pulse, though, and he can call all of this out for his team. Now, he's the only person that holds a Nitro cell, so the information isn't necessarily going to be used to get a kill with a C4, but it can be at least used to know where people are pushing from. Another Lion scan comes in. You've got to think that Wolves have missed a bit of an opportunity there. They didn't drone thoroughly enough or have the people in the right position to really take over library because, sure, they might have got somebody in, but there's nothing really happened beyond that. Uno's still going to be able to call out all this info for his team and maybe fly in with a C4 right at the bitter end. Rise is going to be at the top of those library stairs as BB makes his way into library as well now. P4 does manage to shut down Mello. They know that one's probably going to be playing in Janitors. They can look to try and clear that player out. terms of utility left, BB has a couple of these Yings, so can maybe try and make something happen with this, but a C4 thrown up. Is it going to be detonated in time? No. Rise takes the gunfight. Experience really showing through there. P4, he's going to pick up his third as we see Doom full white flashed as the swing comes through. Does manage to get the kill, excuse me? Oh, goodness gracious. Good job that someone was there for the re, because that could have been a nightmare.
Oh, sheesh. That was something. That was something.
You don't get to see that every day. Much better round from Wolves.
Yeah, that was, again, you said slow. That is Wolves. You have to remember what the origins of this side is. The origins of this team is very old school Vitality.
Yeah.
And old school Vitality were known for being a side that would plant the diffuser at 0 seconds in a 5v5. That's how slow this team used to be, the origins of it. So, realistically, if you think about how Wolves played that, you know, it's really not that slow for that side. They were able to gain top floor control by about minute 20 or so. Gives them tons of time for what that side is. I love the use of the Ying, being able just to distract the player in top fireplace. P4 being able to push up. I think the desk highlighter not been playing to his strengths, but here today, good shift so far.
He's doing a really good job playing on the Ash, 5-1 so far. Good to see the fraggers having a good day, or at least one of them. Realistically, it doesn't matter where the kills come from. You know, we're slowly moving away from this fragger support meta into more of a frontline backline. And, you know, because of how much flexibility everyone's got at the minute with secondary hard breach gadget, secondary EMP gadget, there's so much more that, you know, one operator can do than just being, you know, sort of pigeonholed into one category.
So kitchen dining, Heroic really taking us around the whole map at the moment, Ollie, haven't they? They've not really shied away from anything. They've went to every bomb site at the moment. 2 of them have not worked.
Dream's going to go for it, surely. There we go. That is what we want to see from Wolves.
That's it.
Much better. Bait them into this aggressive play. You know that Heroic are going to make it. They've done it in the last 3 out of 4 rounds. They're going to play some sort of aggression. Dream's been punished there. And rightly so. You can't get away with that.
And I think with a moment like that, that's where it's going to then hit Heroic thinking, they're onto us.
Yes.
Jig's up.
Now what do we do?
We're out.
Yeah, we better have another
Get
plan.
the flights booked. We're going to the Caribbean. We're done. They know where we are.
But you better have another plan, because you can't just rely on aggression and runouts. There needs to be something a little bit deeper than that.
Keep in mind this is a kitchen dining, but Heroic are going to throw everything that they have into defending this top floor as best as they can. You would, I wouldn't put it past you if you think, oh, hold on, is this? I thought this was a top floor attack, but nope, just the way that the meta has shifted. You do not want to give a side like Wolves that early top floor control. You want to fight with everything that you have, and they have a lot of utility. There's a transparent shield there, Ollie. Did you see that? See-through.
Yeah, it is a little bit, isn't it? Well, it's gone now.
Gone now.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, look, a second
it's another
see-through. I've never seen that one before. Oh,
It's good from this side.
And then the bottom left, however, is missing. Wait. Right, we'll just let that be.
I think they got them at a discount store. I think Heroic.
Budget shields.
Yeah, I think they picked up a few at a discount store when they were on offer. We are going to see the site now opened up a little bit. There's still a presence top floor to be dealt with here. Wolves are setting all the ducks up nicely in a row.
It's good from Wolves, because you don't really have to do anything. Remember, we've seen this from the game last time for M&M. As soon as you have that top floor control, you have that wall open, you just have to sit. It's going to be the defenders who have to move. They're the ones under pressure, because getting the plant down is just going to be easy.
Mowgli knows that somebody's playing inside of that bathroom area. Just going to hop in the drone and see if there's anything that he can confirm.
Look at Bibi, by the way. He's actually downstairs at a crouch walk. He's looking to hit them in the backstab.
Ben just super low as well on that top floor. Probably going to try and play his life. Uno takes a load of damage, and Rise will be down for good measure. Does get caught out in the frost mat. Unfortunate stuff. Benji, despite being low, still picks himself up a kill. Grizzly now looking to flood in through that top floor, as things haven't really gone to plan here for Wolves. P4 has info, picks himself at one, but gets taken out from the hatch. Shinka, he's got himself into the site. There's 3 seconds left. He can't get the plant down. Bibu now joins in, but it's all too little too late. That is the danger demo of wasting that clock and running things down.
It wasn't really the clock, in my opinion, Ollie. It was the fiasco upstairs. What? Everything's looking good. We're highlighting that Bibu and co are looking at the backstab, and then we go upstairs. Somebody's died, and then I just see somebody kicking their leg in a frost mat. What? Like...
There's no excuse to move that slowly and not know about the frost map.
The upstairs control went from 100 to 0 in a matter blink your eye and you miss it.
Yeah.
That was wow. Wow. But again, Heroic, they see the weaknesses, they say, you fools. Now we have upstairs, we have the power. And then from there, there's nothing that Wolves can do because they just panic and they get flustered.
I really think that Wolves just moved too slowly. The mistakes made under pressure there. Mistakes made in those final few seconds that could have very easily been alleviated. There was the culprit, Frostmat. Exhibit A, Frostmat under piano window, please. I'd like to enter this into evidence. Round-winning Frostmat right there.
There it is. Who's observing this? I forget which one is it today. It's my favorite. Don't tell Easy I said that.
Oh goodness.
But of course, if this was Easy Observer, I'd say my favorite. Don't tell Lennox I said that. You can't choose between two of them. They are very much like Thing 1 and Thing 2. Just which one's which.
No funny business early on in this round from Heroic, although Doom did smash the window and play near it for a couple of seconds, but he wasn't going to make the same mistake as he did in the previous round. Worth noting, of course, that Heroic won that previous round a man down from the off.
True. That run-out hap from Doom didn't matter, still. Heroic being able to muster up a bit of a bite back. Doom, again, he's asking for it today. He is asking for it. The fact that he's not killed is very fortunate already. How much use is he going to be, though, Ollie, on 1 HP?
Really is getting himself into harm's way quite often here. You think about the role that he's playing as well on that Warden, you don't really want to be 1 HP. You've not necessarily got utility you can just throw out and forget there. You've got glasses. You need to be in the firefight. Oh. He's going to activate the glasses, but they don't work against nades, I'm afraid. He's going to get taken out. Benja will be there for the re. Benja happy to scurry away there as he's kind of saved Doom there a little bit, I think. Yeah, he certainly saved him. He's made sure that Doom has at least achieved cost there in that round.
Doom knew he was dying there either way. If you're playing on that blue stairs for that extension, there's no way Wolves are going to be a side that lets you rotate back in through that top floor. So it was, good for him from Benja to get that refrag. However, that still does leave null and void in towards Library. The pressure is no longer there for Heroic, and now Wolves can open up wall with ease, and they're certainly gearing up, Ollie, for your, again, quintessential plant you would expect to see. It's just all about burning through that time off the smoke canisters, and make sure you hold your flanks. And speaking of flanks, oh, there's two of them. Maybe one up blue, one up snowmobile.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried with just who it is that's playing below. We've got Grizzly and Benja. Neither of them have got a C4. No one's brought a C4 on the side of Heroic here. Looks like Grizzly maybe has been droned. I don't think Benja has been, but Wolves at least know that somebody is going to be playing below, and they can start to work that into their plans somewhat. Looks as though Grizzly's hightailing it out of there and trying to get himself rotated back up solar to be a part of the action in this final 45 seconds. P4 just walks straight into Mellow. Excuse me? Surely that refrag's there. Yes, it is. Rise is there to oblige. We'll be able to take him down. However, Benja is still below.
Danger man.
And I think that Wolves have maybe forgotten about this because they thought that Grizzly was below, but there was two. Rise is able to take out Uno, and somehow Benja misses his shots. Now we can see Wolves move forward as a pack and start to try and dismantle Grizzly before Benja is able to get there. Bibu actually picks Benja up on that flank as the plant will start to go down here. Grizzly grabs himself one. How much info has he got here? He knows there's a player in piano, but he gives it all up. Goes to the pre-fire, misses his shots, and now telegraphs his location. Has to now try and push through, seeing if there's anything that he can get as a lucky one-tap. The diffuser planted inside of the corner. We do have it being held just from inside of Ivy. One of the players has been able to get themselves out of dodge, but look at the health available for Wolves. Both players super low indeed. Grizzly takes one challenge, is able to pick one off, but Rise is there ready. Didn't mess that up either. I think that's so important. Didn't immediately peek. Pre-fired the corner, took his time, and really guaranteed that kill. It would have been quite easy there to mess that one up.
I feel so sorry for Benja. I don't know how. I do not know how that ace is tanked. All of that. That has baffled me.
Range plus fast fire rate plus missed shots.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as
I've been killed by less, if that helps. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that kill comes in. I thought the kill was going to come in. I thought Benja was in a great position. Grizzly did really well for baiting for Benja because we knew we've seen that double man flank. They only caught on it was just Jaeger. They seen Jaeger rotate back. They had no
Grizzly
idea.
almost tried to get himself caught, didn't he?
Yeah,
and it worked.
He wanted to die for Benja in that scenario. And then Benja, just the stars aligned, and he just... Oh, I feel sorry, honestly. Like I said, I've died the last, so... And then that kill comes in, and then it's panic. Panic at the Chalet for Wolves at that stage.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Not the disco.
No. No discos here.
I think it could suit a little...
Too much on the line for discos, mate.
It could suit a disco room, though.
Is there a disco room?
It needs a little bit of colour,
Is
Chalet,
there
I
any
think.
discos?
Yeah, there is in Sky.
That's karaoke.
But it's as close as you're going to get.
I'll give you.
Round number 6. Wolves. Are they going to finish at a 4-2 half here? There is potential. Chalet certainly has that to offer for the attackers. That positive split. Certainly with the way things are going, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Slow and steady. Wins the race, isn't it, Ollie?
It's Wolves to a T.
It is. This is just it. They do their basics right. They give nothing away as best as they can, unless a couple of spawn peaks, which, to be fair, has been a bit of a hindrance to them here or there. But as we know, they have been catching on to Heroic a little bit better in that regard. But what a swing from Doom! That is the sole hard breacher gone, and that effectively means that Wolves are going to be headlocked into a snowmobile attack, Ollie.
Well, we've seen a couple of quick kills come through there. This round is all happening at once.
P4's in.
P4 got himself into the site. Wolves wasted no time. Not often that you can say that about Wolves. The round over inside of the first half.
Wow.
Barely even got to 1 minute and 30 there, Demo.
Again, Wolves, you know, we've mentioned how slow-paced that they can be, but think of some of the players that they have. They have P4 and Mowgli.
That's what excites me about this team.
It's
They can do both.
They can't. Well, it's not a case of they can do both. It's they have players who can do both. That's the way I look at it. Mowgli was.
What's the difference?
I can do both because would you expect to see Bibu? Well, I mean, Bibu and Co wasn't exactly rushing in. They were waiting for the solo plays to happen from players like P4 and Mowgli. Mowgli was born in the pits of ranked. You know, we made him in the ground. You know, you ever seen Lord of the Rings where they're breeding the orcs? Exact same thing. We bred him in those pits, and he's came out. He can just appear like a phantom. P4 can do the same. People forgetting whenever P4 used to be in Tempera back in the day, he was that guy who would just crouch walk around, would appear and disappear all at the same time. They still have those abilities. Are you seeing Bibu and Rise and you know, the older players? Are they going to be rushing into sight like that? No, they don't do that. But they have players that do. That's the difference, Oliver. That's the difference.
Thanks for clarifying.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Switching things around here, Wolves going to kick themselves onto the defense. 4 rounds to 2, good split, and a great way to finish as well. A big confidence knock, I think, for Heroic. You know, after a couple of the rounds go slow and steady, you think you know what you're going to expect with Wolves, and then all of a sudden, bam, they hit you where it hurts.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news again. The slump Uno has been in. It hasn't ended.
No.
It hasn't ended.
No, not
1
yet.
and 6 at the moment.
Not yet.
It's rough. Nobody really from Heroic is stepping up to the plate. A lot of people negative there in terms of the KDs.
And there's people that you would look toward and, you know, look to for kills. Uno isn't someone that you always look to for kills or contribution.
No.
His contribution comes elsewhere. However, when the likes of Benja, Zoom, you know, aren't really hitting those incredible numbers, everyone's on 4 or 5 kills.
Yeah. Look at this standoff. Melu on one side and Rise, of course, on the other. Rise, however, again, just pacing. Oh, Benja. Oh, a double
Benja.
from Benja. If there's one thing that's consistent about that lineup, Ollie, sure, some players may be a little bit hit or miss, but there's always one boy who's hitting, and it is Benja.
Yeah, judge him at the end of the game, not at the halfway point. I think is always a fair assumption with Benja.
He's so good.
Picked himself up a real couple of big kills there, but it hasn't come without cost. Heroic lost 2 bodies in that exchange. Wolves were able to trade off those kills, regardless of how flashy or how good they were from Benja. They're still in a very similar position here. They've lost the line, they've lost the sledge, they've lost the nades. You know, they've still got a couple of nades knocking around on Benja, so they have that ability.
This is a basement, by the way.
You look at what...
in case nobody knew.
Well, look at what Wolves have lost. They've not lost a lot. They've lost a Legion, and they've lost an Alibi. They've still got a C4, they've still got mirror windows, they've still got information available to them on site.
I do worry about how they're going to be able to open up these walls with those mute jammers at the moment, and as we know, Benj is probably going to be using his nades elsewhere to try and get these kills, as Heroic are very persistent in clearing out that top floor. And, well, Benji finds us for another wall bang. But 45 seconds, Heroic, a lot to do still on the board. They're going to have to move quick.
It's a single door push, isn't it, at this point?
They're going to have to get the kills. Realistically, I don't think they're going to have enough gusto to get those walls open just because of the time limits. You have to then also go through potentially any burn that you have, which, to be fair, there actually isn't any denial for nades on Wolves, but those mirror windows, Ollie, I don't know if one's going to be placed looking in towards that double wall, but if it is, then yeah, that's a big issue for Heroic.
And now Heroic finding out about this mute jammer.
He has to get the nade in.
At the 16-second mark, we're finding out that there's a mute jammer.
Benji's not in a position to do that. They have to just rush in. They have to drop the hatches, go for the doorways. Ollie, will it work?
Well, full white flash for Benja as his teammate did flash in there. Rise is going to try and play spoiler. C4 there from Shinka.
Oh, look at
Uno
Rise.
will be getting that plant down. There's only a couple of seconds left here to go. Grizzly picks himself up one, but the swing from Shinka nets two, picks the planter and the cover. Wolves never in doubt of their own ability there. They knew exactly what Heroic were walking into. They were walking into pain demo. They were walking into mute jammers, reinforced walls. It was not a fun time.
Time killed them. Heroic struggling big time with that room clear. Again, it was a basement, Ollie, and look at how much they put in towards that top floor.
Scary.
Benj had done really well, being able to open up with 2 kills, or an opening kill, whatever it is, and then bang, 2 kills back in favor for Wolves. And then from there, you just sat there and you thought, wow, how are they going to be able to pull this off? They just don't have the time. Great team play there from Wolves at the end. That's a great 2v2 to win. I've been incredibly impressed by Wolves and just their team play tonight. Honestly, Eminem takes some notes. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. And Eminem's team play wasn't terrible tonight. It wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
But Wolves are really giving a masterclass here. And I think, that's the mark of a team that knows how to work the clock as well. We talk about how Wolves can be a little bit slow on the attack, albeit they have showcased some nice speed here tonight on occasion. But they know how to work that against their opponent on the defense as well. And that huge extension, that, real sprawling sort of problem to solve, Heroic didn't come up with a really useful way of dealing with it. On Wolves' attacks, their primary focus was to get Garage Wall open. That was happening in the first 30 seconds regardless. And then they'd go on clear and do roam stuff, because that's an option for later. And it's a job that doesn't need doing afterwards, because to get yourself back in, it's very inefficient. You're better off doing these jobs when you spawn in, you can get walls open, then you can work on other things. And that's obviously an approach that Heroic didn't take, and it's an approach that ultimately kind of cost them a little bit, because they were forced into, unfavourable locations, as it were, for plant spots and to be holding for cover.
Yeah, Wolves are always going to have the advantage going into that. So Wolves, first defense down. Second one, here we go. Oh, are we good? Okay, we're good.
I'm good at you.
Worried there for a minute. Are you good? Are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
You reckon?
Yeah.
So top floor. Again, I don't know if Grizzly's good. Look at the legs going.
He's moonwalking the wall, isn't he?
Is Grizzly gone? Or what's... Oh.
No, he's back.
Hello.
I think we may hit a quick rehost.
I'm not sure what's happening. I mean, they're still playing.
It looks as though the players are still playing.
I'm using the glasses in the bottom left.
Right, who's got glasses on?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, Melo's got glasses on.
Let me have a look.
We have been told it's going to be a rehost.
Okay.
So the reflections in the glasses matter not.
No.
We were watching somebody play a couple of weeks ago, and we could actually see their screen at a really funny angle.
I was watching.
And Jack Allen Fresh on desk.
Jack Allen Fresh, that's a new one.
He actually tilted his head at a really peculiar angle to actually see the screen better.
Wow, that's
on the TV screen.
He dies for the badge, old Jack. He dies for the badge. He'll do anything.
Honestly,
anything he can.
It was incredible to watch the brain power of an analyst.
I've never witnessed someone who has died as much as Jack has. He streams 16 hours a day.
Yeah,
every day, religiously, 16 hours. Credit to him.
Credit indeed.
Credit to him.
Well, during this rehost, it is 5-2 to Wolves, by the way. So a pretty significant advantage here, Demo. Obviously, it's going to knock a little bit the wind out of both teams' sails. There's a debate on the line as to how much wind Heroic had to be knocked out of their sails, seeing as they've only picked up a couple of rounds. But Wolves on the flip side have looked really good tonight. Nothing really has phased them too much. Really running through the motions on their attacks and showcasing a nice balance between, you know, slow and steady and a bit of speed there in that final round. But it's really on this attacking side where I kind of worry, I think, for Heroic.
Yeah, I have to come back to the point about this is a massive game for Heroic, because M&M winning tonight has really hindered Heroic also, because M&M's overtook them.
Yep.
So then at that stage, because M&M are ahead and they both played the same amount of games, as of course if Heroic were to lose this game tonight, then Heroic have to rely on M&M slipping up. They have to rely on Rogue, BDS, and again Wolves slipping up. At the moment, would you expect to see any of those sides really slip up enough points to have Heroic overtake them? And that was also Heroic having to win their games. That's why we say it's massive, because Heroic do not have the easy road ahead of them, like some teams might.
Have you noticed how hype Wolves have been tonight? When we loaded into the lobby, Rise was laughing his head off. He was like uncontrollably laughing. And P4 was as well. Now we're in the rehost, and Bibu's obviously, I don't know, he's saying something. And Rise again is chuckling away. The vibes look extremely high on Wolves at the moment. You sort of flip that over to Heroic, and everyone look, obviously they're in a losing matchup. Everyone looks a little bit somber. It's not over. There's still a chance here for them to come away with something. But it just doesn't feel, you know, you can almost sense the energy is very different on either side of the screen here. I believe we are back.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I mean, Wolves have made 2 majors. May as well make it 3, am I right?
Exactly.
Why not? Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself to what's something that's we're probably going to offend people here, aren't we? Traditionally Swedish food. Meatballs.
Meatballs.
Treat yourself to some meatballs.
There you go.
There we go. Well, back into the game we go. Top floor.
Do you hear anything?
I've
got no
well, like
sound.
just voices in my head, or
It's just
the actual game sound?
I don't hear any game sound.
No, I've not got any game sound.
That's a necessity for me sometimes, because I have to hear some stuff, I guess.
Different guns, maybe?
Yep.
Nades being cooked? C4's ripped. There we go.
Drones, there we go. Thank you.
I love how we started with a scream there. One of the operators just hitting a little bit of a scream.
Right, back into it. Top floor, of course, is where we're going to go back to. No changes here. For the most part, Heroic in their lineup. Fairly standard, nothing really too out of the ordinary, you would say. Quite classic for Heroic. Everyone has their favorites. You know, Benja, of course, in the sledge, and he is in very early by himself. Ollie downstairs is where he entered from, in towards Snowmobile, and straight up in. He's looking just for an opening kill in those open holes, and Rise gets caught out. Moments like this is really what define rounds, where you can cheekily find a kill, and especially on the attack. Numbers advantage on attack is so important. You need to always stay one step ahead of the defenders.
I do wonder if that default comes up.
Benja!
How has Benja just been allowed to be taken out like that? Benja did a great job of getting that opening.
If I was him, I would have ran back downstairs. I would have ran away and really thought about, okay, what do we want to do next? I've got the opening kill, now what?
He didn't just get the opening pick down, he got the opening pick onto Echo.
True.
True. I didn't notice that at the time, but Rise is playing on the Echo. He's got the Yokai drones. They're just not even a factor.
Yep.
They might not even both be thrown out at this point.
They've lost another. Lion's gone, and that's a big global off the board.
RCE disabled.
I like this play from Wolves. Really looking to go back to back here and just keep each other alive.
Basically, what we're seeing from Wolves is something that's kind of been done for, I think, the past couple of months or so. It wasn't really, we didn't see this during the early stages of Chalet during the year, but now teams, because they know that Library is the main entranceway for teams going for the classical top floor attacks, you just open up all of Library. You don't even let them get into Library and then challenge. You stop them from getting in, period. You have all these holes open. You play that aggressive shield in the blue corridor. It slows down the attack even more so.
Well, Doom surely is going to pick himself up a kill there onto Mowgli and will do so. The default camera is still up though, so info can be exchanged, but Bibu needs to concentrate on staying alive right now. He does manage to do so. Doom, he's managed to take control of this Ivy doorway and can start to keep a line of sight in onto the site. With the wall being half open, it does make the job a lot easier of removing that mute jammer and further opening up the wall. Grizzly. He's going to be outside on the balcony. The Heroic do just need to start trying to corral these remaining defenders into favourable locations. P4 still remaining a little bit mobile here. Did have the ADS to play with briefly. We're going to see Grizzly pick up that kill onto P4. Shinka inside of the site. It's going to become a very difficult place for him as he is in a 1 versus 3 now. Isn't even going to survive that contact with Doom. Big round from Doom there, Demo.
Yeah,
got himself into some really good positions. I like that rotate up those library stairs.
Yeah, got control of blue. Eliminated that player, then it forced Bibu back all the way into the bomb site. Even Grizzly in the window was just controlling the game there for the other two, wasn't he? You probably look at him and think, oh, he's not doing much, but he actually is. He's just putting that extra layer of pressure onto Wolves that restricts their movement because they know if I put a foot wrong, the man in the window is going to have me smashed. So it's good. Good from Heroic. Good to see them get back into it. Wolves, where do you go now? Not wanting to go upstairs, instead kitchen is where they're headed. Thing is, with the kitchen, it plays very similar.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Kind of from what we've seen, isn't it? Well, it should play similar, you would expect from Wolves.
They're going to have a presence upstairs, that much is certain. I'm not entirely sure about the lineup, Demo. I'll be honest with you.
From the defense?
Yeah, I'm looking at the old Thorn.
Thorn's a staple for Rise. It is an operator that he's very comfortable with. Probably the only resident Thorn main we actually have in the league at the moment.
I'm just not a big fan.
How so?
I know that you're a big fan, so I know I'm going to have a tough time here explaining this one.
Great gun.
Great gun.
Gadget's handy. Works very similar to an LMI, a little bit more deadly though, as we know.
Yeah. I think
and the shield. It's a good loadout.
Oh, you bring barbed wire?
Barbed wire, not my preferred. Shield, bit of a troll from him, I'll be honest, but we'll move.
I'd like a C4, I think.
You have the Banshee.
I'd like some smokes.
You have the Banshees. Why do you need the barbed wire? I don't know.
I'd like a C4 and I'd maybe like some smokes because you know that there's a likelihood of a plant going down. And
plenty of info though. That's one thing you have to like about
the
the Wolves
lineup.
lineup.
Of information. But the wall's already been opened. Both walls, that is. Upstairs into office and into the site, which is to be expected, let's be honest.
That's great from the Flores.
Brilliant work there from Grizzly to remove a lot of this insight utility. He's probably going to go through and get the second Maestro camera as well. It doesn't look like Shinka knows what is going on, and that is a lot of that information that we were just praising gone.
Out the window. So, I mean, keep in mind, this is all happening within inside a minute. All walls opened. Maestro cam's gone. Heroic, take your pick. What do you want to do next? You can go anywhere, because you've done already what teams would struggle to do with inside 2 minutes of the round, never mind the first minute.
And they didn't need to take top floor to do so. But therein comes another problem in that they're probably not going to have to take top floor. And they're going to have to start to go head-to-head with some of these defenders. Although all the drone information indicates that they're really trying to figure out what's going on in the site. Uno is the holder of the kit, and he's going to be on new balcony. Doom looking to send a Gemini up and maybe gather a little bit of info, maybe bait out a little bit somewhat for Benja here. There's going to be a bit of info there as the nade comes through and finishes off an already low Mowgli. Second nade going to be sent on in as the Lion Scan did just go out there. But that is going to be an alibi, my friend. We do hear the Razor Bloom go off. Don't think it does too much damage though, as Heroic, they're not really too worried about anything like that. They are just pushing on through headlong. They have the info and they're going to use it.
Doom is on a rampage. He just does not stop. He always is looking for blood. He will be picked off by Bibu, and Wolves know that they have to get aggressive. Bibu's going to try and do that. Benja, is he ready for it? Is he ready? No! Bibu balls it. Chases for the kill. He doesn't see what have I just watched at my screen. Shinka in the 1v4 as the Alda. They're in the site. They're chasing after him. He gets a freebie. Where's the defuse? It has to be going down any second now. Uno needs to get himself into the position to do that. He will now go for it, and you would expect that the cover is going to be there, and it is. On the hatch is where they're stationed. Solar Stairs also is where they're starting to pressure in from. Shinka is going to have to do a moment of madness, but Heroic, easy enough to clean him up. We'll just get past what we've seen. We don't need to. Do we need to linger on it? I don't know.
Benja going prone was probably the best thing he could have done. No one expects it.
Ugh.
It's a horrible move, but it gets the job done, Demo. It picks the round up. I feel like Heroic played really well there.
Heroic
there was such a nice balance between a focus on utility from Grizzly in the opening round, making sure that there was basically nothing useful on the site left. Achieved. Then there was a nice flip side of pushing the top floor, but not just mindlessly pushing it. We saw the drones, we saw the nades. There was a good bit of utility exchange. You know, we had the Gemini clones going out there in order to bait for Benja or whatever it might be. Very well coordinated there from Heroic. Their attacks so far have been miles better than the defenses. What are you worried about?
Just worried that Wolves are very good at adapting to what they're up against. We've seen that on their attacks. They've seen the way that Heroic were playing aggressive with the jump hands. They were able to shut that down. Realistically, the way you're shutting down Heroic at the moment with how Heroic are playing is you just double and triple up and wait for the refrags. Isn't it? Isn't that kind of how you're going to beat Heroic in this game? Because Heroic, they're not doing anything flashy. They're just having a lot of confidence in their gunfight. They're working in pairs. They're working in motion. They're doing really... Grizzly's doing really well at getting himself into another position away from the main attacking force, just to put a little bit of something on the end. He's doing really well at that job. I would personally like to see Wolves go aggressive. I'd like to see them do what Heroic were doing to them.
It would be nice for Wolves to be a bit more aggro, certainly in that opening kill, because Heroic have picked up the opening kill in a good number of rounds here. I think it's out of the sort of 9 rounds we've seen played, I think they've got the opening kill in 6 of them, something like that. So Heroic are doing a really good job of ensuring that opening pick. It's not always working out great for them, but it does often give them a reasonable start. And it's going to kick off again here, albeit it will be traded directly this time, but Juma is still not finished. What a game he's having so far. P4 eventually shuts Uno down on the rappel.
That's a great kill. I'll tell you why. That's the diffuser drop. So somebody from Heroic, and we talked about this main attacking force where they're trying to push in from the balcony, trying to push in from library. One of those players who you probably wouldn't expect to see with the diffuser, 2 of them being Benja and Jum, one of them has to go out of their way now to get that diffuser. Is Jum going to jump out the building? Is he going to forfeit that ground? Is Benja going to stop the control, which is really keeping Jum alive? That diffuser going down in that position is really going to hurt them.
It does seem to have sent Heroic into a little bit of a spin cycle here. Doom is on 1 HP, so it means that Grizzly's got a lot of the heavy lifting to do here. You don't want to put in Doom in too many engagements. Bit of a rotation now from Wolves as they look to assist P4 on the site. Grizzly, he's going to make his way in upstairs. There's still a whole minute remaining, it's worth being said, so if anything can be done vertically, now will be the good time to get that going.
Wolves can give them sight. That's the position they're in. That's how easy it should be. Without that diffuser, that right there, that's your golden ticket. If you don't have that, you're not getting in.
It depends on if any kills can be found here for free vertically. There's still 40 seconds roughly to work with. Looks as though Doom knows where somebody is. Gets a little bit of damage in onto P4. And Wolves do seem a little bit timid here. They know that they don't want to be taking these challenges.
They're reading a book.
I don't think that they know where the diffuser is right now. Grizzly, he's going to try and take this challenge.
Shotgun.
And he's going to win.
Tried to play him with a pistol.
I mean, for Grizzly to take that challenge head on is pretty ballsy, to be honest with you.
No diffuser.
But this is where the diffuser becomes a problem. Unless
Wolves,
June can pick up a couple on the cross.
Wolves.
If June picks up a couple of kills on the cross here, it could be all over. No, Rise does manage to land the one shot that he needed. And with no diffuser, Wolves aren't going to be too concerned. They've got live information as to what's happening on the site, and they're probably saying, why is he not getting the plant down? Well, he doesn't have the kit. Wolves get the job done there. Uno on that solo rappel. Second round in a row that's happened, Demo.
It's just annoying whenever something like that happens, and realistically it's a game of who wants to do it. Oh, well, I don't want to do it. I don't want to leave my position. Oh, well, I don't want to leave mine either. Somebody has to do it. That should be the first thing. That should be getting called out. Guys, diffuser is now on what? The snowmobile, the big garage door. Somebody needs to go and get that. It's all well and good having the control of upstairs and even having control of site. Don't have that diffuser, not winning. That's it. That is the end all and be all. Wolves, match point. They guarantee themselves a point. Heroic cannot get the full 3, so that is obviously going to be disappointing for them. But not only that, is Wolves have 2 rounds to see out all 3.
Yeah.
And for Heroic, they need something out of this game. They cannot take 0 points. But at the moment, it looks as if that's going to happen.
Back to wine and snowmobile now.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Wolves, of course, were successful in round number 7 when we first saw the site.
Attackers are moving.
There was an opening kill for Heroic. I think this was one of the Benja rounds where he moves through, gets an opening pick, but time ran certainly quite short last time for Heroic, and they weren't actually able to get anything open. Ended up just getting cut down in the site. This time it looks as though they've got a slightly different focus demo. They are going to be opening up at least the garage wall straight away, which, as we mentioned, is always a good place to start, and it was something they didn't do in round number 7. So good to see them doing it now. Is that going to be enough of a difference, or at least is it going to spark a catalyst of change here in how Heroic want to approach this? Just drawing it out now and looking at their options, seeing that everything is relatively clear in on the site. Does, of course, indicate that there's a roam game to be dealt with.
So at the moment, for Wolves, the way they've kind of anchored themselves up, it's not as much pressure in towards, you know, kind of suicide holding really the library, because you only really have the one player. I think very easily Rise could just run away at any moment. I think it's just there just to waste a bit of time. The main pressure from Wolves is once again going to be applied from Bedroom, which we seen last time. Rise, gone. That's what I'm saying. There's not much really that Heroic should be scared off. It's one guy behind a mirror window. That's it. That's all they had. They've done better this time around, Ollie, in terms of time management. That was the biggest issue for them the last time they attacked the basement.
Well, they really haven't. They've got one of the important jobs done in that they've got a wall open downstairs on site.
Kill.
Not only that, but they were also cutting off these players as they rotate back down. For some reason, Wolves have got themselves into such an extended roam. I mean, a mirror window
survived.
upstairs for a garage hold, it does seem a little bit strange. Somehow P4 manages to get himself picked up, which is great news for him. Not so great news for Heroic, although he will only be on 20 HP. And he didn't bring the C4, instead has opted for the Bulletproof. So you would hope that there's a good amount of information available for Wolves as they enter this final minute. Heroic, this is where they need to start to pick up the pace a little bit. They know that the majority of the map now is clear as they've pushed all of these roamers back down onto site. And again, a focus comes on looking to try and get another wall open.
Should be clear cut for Heroic. They have plenty of time, and whenever moments like that start happening, though, I do worry for them. Benja has the upstairs control, can start ripping in to all of this soft destruction. Bibu barely makes it out alive. Not really sure where Heroic are actually headed to, because there's nobody towards Trench. It looks to be a main wall take instead. Ollie, they're going to be pushing in towards Snowmobile.
Well, they've not really got many options, have they, Demo? There's only 15 seconds left here. We've still got off-site players for Wolves that can rotate down and play spoiler. Benja's going to fluff his shots and get shut down by Mowgli. 8 seconds left to go. Uno, he's inside of the smoke. He goes for the swing, shuts down a player in connector. There's 3 seconds left on the clock. He's got the diffuser. Is he going to be able to get it down? The answer is going to be no. Wolves, they take a full 3 points here on Chalet.
Oh, Benja, the moment for him, the moment was there. But it doesn't pay out. Wolves take the win. Heroic. Oh, it's a heavy loss for Heroic. It really does mean that they have to work extra hard going further now inside of this season. Wolves take a well-deserved 3 points. That puts them right up in there. And their chances at getting that major Ollie, it's already locked in almost, isn't it? It's nearly there.
What do you think Rise and Bibu were running from then? Was that what they're doing, the running animation?
Running from not making top 4, I suppose.
I don't know. They were running somewhere, maybe running away with the game. That was a masterclass from Wolves over on Chalet. There were opportunities there for Heroic. I think that Heroic played a good, dare I say it, ratty game of Siege.
That's what we've seen from Heroic from that first week. This is the kind of playstyle. They have the players for that playstyle.
But when that goes up against real structure.
This was it. And
that's the problem.
We've seen this. It's not only has this happened against Wolves, it happened against BDS.
Yep.
The big sides, the consistent sides, the teams that we consider to be our best, that we would put forward into the major, they're going to struggle. They still have Rogue to go up against. They still have M&M to go up against. Is this a recurring theme? It's all well and good being able to beat, TT9 and some of the lower teams in the league. Do it against the big clubs. Do it against the big sides, because bet you any money, the big sides will beat the same teams you beat.
Yeah. And that's it. Wolves coming away with a full 3 points there. That is going to mean a lot for them in terms of qualification for the major. We're going to throw this one back over to the desk, and they are going to break this one down.